The Cruel Jewel 100 is finally here, and today I want to talk about how I feel about it, and I feel terrible. Many of you probably know this, but I ran the Lollipop 240 about 5 weeks ago, a 243-mile self-supported route, and I have just been dealing with a lot of mental pain, a lot of physical pain. My recovery over the last 5 weeks has been actually pretty rough. Usually I can have a quick 2 to 3 week turnaround, and it's just some soreness in my legs that is now just finally going away. However, the mental aspect is really tough. I'm not gonna lie. I mentioned in a previous video that I can only do so many of these really, really tough efforts a year. It takes so much out of me mentally. It's like a self-imposed torture. And so the thought of Cruel Jewel 100, the thought of going into it not at my best, it's a little scary. Now, going along with that, getting broken down mentally, feeling kind of rough, I've actually had kind of a lack of motivation to put in heavy training weeks. I've been focusing more on videos, I've been focusing more on my family, which is a good thing. I mean, focusing more on myself is not a bad thing, but I really had some high hopes for this last training block or two leading up to Cruel Jewel, and to know that I didn't put in my best, to know that there's more that I probably could have done, you know, hindsight's 2020, it's a little demoralizing. Additionally, this last weekend for Mother's Day weekend, took my wife, the kids, friends of the family. We went out to Clearwater Beach. We hung out by the pool. We did a little bit of partying. Not too hard of partying because we have young kids. We were always in bed by like 9 or 10. But still, you know, day drinking. I was carrying my son on the pool deck to get a floaty, and I slipped and hit my knee, tweaked my hip. He was fine though, saved the precious cargo. And then the day after I got back, got a little bit of a head cold. So not necessarily anything major's wrong with me, but it's like, it's death by 1,000 cuts, and it all kind of adds up and is adding to my stress level. However, there is a silver lining. I'm going into Cruel Jewel with the same respect I had for the course 2 years ago when I took the race on. 2 years ago, this was my second 100-miler that I ever did. Honestly, looking back, I had no business entering this race. Mentally, physically, I was not, you know, where I'm at now. However, that speaks volumes to my race strategy, the planning I did. I did so much research on the course. I showed up to that race with the utmost respect for that course, knowing that it was one of the hardest races that you can, definitely one of the hardest races on the East Coast, but probably one of the toughest races you can find in the US. And I went into that with this respect for the course and with a true fear of DNFing. And I did really good at that race. I got sub 36 hours. So I'm taking that same mentality into Cruel Jewel 100 this year, knowing that, yeah, I'm not at my absolute physical peak, but I've had some good training blocks at the start of this year. I went into Lollipop 240 about 5 weeks ago, probably the best shape I've ever been in my life. And 5 weeks, even if it's not the best training, even if there were a few minor setbacks, both physical and mental, I'm still in pretty good shape, so I shouldn't be so hard on myself. I know I'm gonna do well, but I am happy that I'm going into Cruel Jewel kind of with that respect for the course, kind of not getting too into myself. Like I not gonna lie, I got done with the Lollipop 240, which I keep mentioning because it was, honestly, I keep mentioning because it was such a big deal, and it boosted my confidence so much. So honestly, if I would have gone into Cruel Jewel off of some really good training blocks and tried to aim for those goal times, which I'm going to speak about, I may have been putting myself in a bad situation, and I still want to hit some really good goal times. I still think it's possible, but it's just caused me in the last few days to really take a step back and appreciate, you know, the course for what it is, appreciate the difficulty of it, and really come into it with a different mindset. Also, I'm gonna be up in the mountains. Like it's beautiful up in those North Georgia mountains. Those are like a second home to me. It's not only gonna be beautiful, but I also have this Insta360 action camera that I really think I'm gonna be able to capture this course the way it is meant to be captured. The video I have from 2 years ago, I went and rewatched some of it. I couldn't watch. I absolutely hated it. I hate that video so much. I hate a lot of my previous work. But those first couple videos I did, I look back on it and I watch some things and what I filmed and how I edited it, and I'm like, what was I thinking? Like it doesn't make you want to go out and run that course. And I cannot wait this year to bring all my new editing skills that I'm of course still working on, but to really capture this race the way it should be captured. And so that's also something that's fun too. If I'm not hitting my goals, I still can do the course a service. I still can have fun, really capture all the images I want, capture all the video, and just enjoy the whole journey. It comes down to that. The last couple weeks has been me transitioning from let's see how badass I am and how great at times I can set to, hey, let's still go out there and be a badass, but let's do what I love. Let's capture this journey. Let's bring you along on this journey. So I'm not trying to make excuses for I'm not trying to make an excuse to say, oh, I'm just going to go have fun at this race. No, I will talk about that. I have some aggressive goals, but I need to always stop and reflect and think about why I'm doing this. Well, I'm doing it because I love it. I'm competitive, but I'm doing this stuff because I love it. I love filming it, edit videos, and just, bringing you guys a final product, showing why these races are so amazing, and trying to convince you guys to do some crazy shit with me. So Cruel Jewel 100, a lot of you guys know what it is. Many of you probably run it. For those of you that don't know what it is 104 miles up in the North Georgia mountains, Blue Ridge, Vogel State Park, all that whole area. And it's most similar to Georgia Death Race. I know a lot of you guys have probably either run that or know what that race is. And the only difference is it's about 30 miles longer, and you do 2 traversals over Duncan Ridge and Coosa Bald. Coosa Bald, that's a big 2,000 foot climb, and then Duncan Ridge, not overly technical, but just a pretty tough trail system, a lot of ups and downs, a lot of elevation change. When I did it 2 years ago, we actually started at Vogel State Park. We had the big major climb first, then a hard Duncan Ridge. Then it was kind of easier toward the middle. You turn around, you come back, and you hit that really tough section, that 16 miles of Duncan Ridge, and then that big climb and descent over Coosa Bald, right at the end. So you kind of had a really tough beginning and a really tough end. This year, I'm actually running the course the opposite direction. They swapped directions this year based off some issues with Vogel, and it actually has all that in the middle. So the beginning section is actually not too tough. In the middle, you have Duncan Ridge, Big Climb Coosa, Aid Station, Big Climb Coosa, Duncan Ridge, and then kind of an easy-ish finish. I say easy-ish. It's not easy, but compared to that middle section, it's going to be a little bit easier. So I'm really excited to see how the course feels this year, how it's different than the structure that I ran it. And so it's actually really exciting just to kind of take on this beast from a different direction. So all that said, this race must be beautiful. North Georgia mountains. It's actually not very scenic. There are some scenic sections. There's some beautiful sections, but it's a lot of just tree cover, trail, trekking ahead, and it's almost mesmerizing because you're just in a green tunnel for a long portion of the race. So the beautiful parts, they stick out. They're what I remember the most, but I do sit down and think about the race as a whole. I just remember hours and hours just trudging through just greenery and trail. The Georgians, they also have never heard of switchbacks in their lives, I guess. Every ascent and descent up a mountain and down a mountain, it's usually straight up and then straight down, which is actually it's stressful because you'll be going up an ascent, and you'll look and you'll go, okay, when I hit those trees, there is no way the trail keeps going up. That has to be the crest. And then you trudge up it, and you get, it feels like 10 miles. It's probably been a quarter mile, and you look and you're like, how is it still going up? So it's very, it's definitely mentally taxing to just, not know when the top of a climb is. So it's just brutal. It's called the Cruel Jewel. It's quite cruel. It's brutal, but it was such a fulfilling challenge when I completed it that I really can't wait to go back and get that buckle, the buckle that I got from 2 years ago. As you see, it's got the course profile on it. And like I mentioned at the beginning and at the end, it's got that big ascent, and then that big descent right at the end. So the buckle for this year going in the opposite direction is actually going to have, the course, mirrored. So it is kind of cool that I'm going to have like one of each buckle. So that's also a motivator for going back and doing this is like, man, I got to have like both of the buckles. Like it's got to be like my little trophy. So I said I was going to talk about my goals. What is my main goal? Well, my main goal from about 8 months ago when I signed up for this race was sub 30 hours. Sub 30 hours was what I knew I could hit with good training, with good weather. And I'm not going to say I'm not going to go for sub 30 because I'm going to go for it. But the weather's not ideal. It's only supposed to be in the upper 70s, which that still could get pretty hot in the mountains. It's supposed to be a little rainy. So weather, while it's not ideal, it's not terrible. And as I mentioned, all the other, minor afflictions for the last few weeks, I think it's a lot of mental stuff. I think it's me trying to talk myself out of going for a hard effort. So what I'm going to do on race day is I'm going to start a bit aggressively and just see how I feel. If I feel really good, I'm gonna gun it. I'm gonna go for it. But if I don't feel good, then I'm not gonna be too demoralized that I have to slow down and choose a new goal. I honestly think I can do 32, 34 hours, coming under that 36 kind of meet last year's time. Now the race, it starts Friday at noon. I like the noon start times. They're actually really nice. You wake up, eat some breakfast, relax, then you race. You don't just, wake up in a panic. So the race does start Friday at noon, which means a 36-hour finish would put me somewhere real late Saturday night, early in the wee Sunday hours. A 30-hour finish put me even sooner. That would be kind of nighttime, not quite as late, obviously. So a big motivated finish is to be able to get done, get a good night's sleep, come back, go back to the finish line, hang out, revel in the victory. I have to drive back on Sunday back home. I got to go to work on Monday. So if I get done in the wee hours of Sunday morning, even later Sunday morning, I need to get a nap and then figure my life out. Of course, I'm not going to drive back super exhausted. If I have to miss some work Monday, I'll do that, but I really don't want to have to alter those plans. I got young kids at home. My wife, she's gracious enough to let me go out and do these crazy things, so I can't just, spend an extra 2 days up in Georgia hanging out as much as I'd want to do that. So I do have, other personal motivations to finish quicker, and I really just want to get done at a good hour and be able to just hang out. I love hanging out at the end of a race. I love showing up the day after and just, kind of talking to everybody, just absorbing it all. So yeah, I got other reasons wanting to finish quickly, and I really hope that I can do that. Now, how am I going to achieve these crazy times? I'll tell you right now, something that helped me out for a Lollipop 240, and I'm going to use in the Cruel Jewel 100 is to just try to never stop. It's easier said than done. What I've been doing for the last few months is I've been doing a lot of rucking. I bought a rucksack, I put a 45-pound weight in there, and I've just been doing power walking, 4, 5, 6 miles. And this allowed me during Lollipop to just keep pressing on, even when my legs were tired. I'd have sore muscles, but I always felt, strong back, strong core, strong shoulders, strong legs, and I was able to just keep pushing on. For Cruel Jewel 100 2 years ago, I had a lot of downtime. Like many races, I had a lot of downtime from stopping at an aid station, spending 30 minutes resting. So I think going into it this year, if I run less than I did 2 years ago, but cut down on those breaks, I can easily shed multiple hours off my time. Now, can I shed 6 hours off my time and come in at sub 30? Again, very aggressive. I'm going to see what I can do, but I honestly think that I can put in less of an effort physically this year and just cut down on those rest times and have a better result. And that comes with experience, that comes with better fitness. Like I said, even though I'm not coming into this one with a good solid training block, I have 2 more years of knowledge. I have 2 more years of training. I had a good base building at the beginning of this year. So I shouldn't count myself out too much. I'm actually kind of hyping myself up, just making this video, just verbalizing this stuff. I didn't write anything down. I just came in, turned the camera on, and just started rambling. And as I'm talking to myself, I'm kind of like, oh man, I got a shot at this. So that's kind of cool. You're seeing me pump myself up, but getting back to it, that's how I'm gonna plan on finishing. I didn't do any specificity training the last few weeks. I didn't get any weight training in. Like I said, I was not super motivated to do anything more than just get my runs in, and so I wasn't able to put in the weight training that I really, really wanted to put in. And I'm hoping that doesn't hurt. I'm hoping that doesn't, hurt my legs going into this thing, but I feel like the rucking with the weight with just, moving my body with that extra weight on it. I think that did do a bit of muscle building, so I am positive about that. But other than that, yeah, the rucking, I'm relying on the rucking. The rucking and the base building and just the mentality that I can bring into this thing, the positivity that I can bring. And that's pretty much it for the Cruel Jewel 100, what I wanted to talk about. I'm hoping I can keep this one short. If you want to go back and see a really shitty video, you can see my Cruel Jewel 100 video from 2 years ago. I'm kind of hard on myself. It may not be as bad as I'm thinking, but like I said, I don't think it really paints a good picture of the course. I think it's better than a lot of other videos that are out there on Cruel Jewel 100, but it's just not up to my standards that I put out now. So I'm real excited to run this race, capture as much footage as possible, and just be in the mountains, just be in the mountain air, just be able to get away and do this crazy adventure. It's an adventure. It's brutal. It's miserable. This race kind of sucks, but it's an adventure, and something about it made me come back 2 years later. So I'm really excited to take it on. I'm really excited to make updates during the race. I'm going to try to do some updates like I did with Lollipop 240. For that one, I made way more updates on Facebook and Instagram than I usually do. So I'm even thinking about posting the Strava beacon as well. We'll see. That means carrying extra power banks. And again, I'll see. If I do have a Strava beacon, I will post that in the description below. So check that. If it's not there, then I'm just going to edit this part out, or maybe I'll leave it in because I'm going to be all scatterbrained the morning of. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'm real excited to take on Cruel Jewel 100. I'm real excited to capture all that footage, and I'm hoping I feel as good on race day as I do right now. So thank you guys.